Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's vlog I want to talk again about Romania and Poland, because living here I have had my own experiences and observations, and one thing I notice is that in general Romanians seem to speak English better than Poles. Today I want to talk about why I think that is, but before we start I really want to make one thing clear. This video is not meant to praise only Romania just because I live here, and it's definitely not against Poland or Polish people. That's not my intention at all. I'm just sharing my personal experiences and what I've actually observed. So this is not about attacking anyone or putting anyone down. It's just an honest comparison based on real life. If this topic sounds interesting to you, then let's get into it. So first of all, I want to say that I run this channel in English. My Romanian is not perfect, actually. I'm still learning it, and that's a whole different story for another vlog, because honestly, it's not an easy language. Eu vorbesc așa și așa. That's also one of the reasons why I make my videos in English, and when I read your comments, I can see that your English is actually on a really good level. You can clearly communicate, you express your thoughts, and you can tell that many Romanians really know English. And since I moved here, I've noticed that people are generally more open, more outgoing, just in the way they are. And in most situations, they don't really have a problem communicating in English. Whether it's in a shop, in a cafe, or when I take Uber or Bolt, most of the time we can talk in English without any problem. Maybe not in every single situation, and of course in smaller towns or villages, especially with older people, English is less common, which is totally normal. But in general, especially in cities, a lot of people here can actually communicate in English, and honestly, that was something that really surprised me when I first came to Romania. So why do I think that in general Romanians speak better English than Poles? In my opinion, one big reason is stress. Eu vorbesc puțin română? I feel like in Poland people are much more stressed about saying everything perfectly. Perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, the perfect word. And honestly, Poles are kind of champions when it comes to pointing out mistakes, even when I speak Polish. It doesn't matter if I say one word slightly wrong, or I misspeak, or I write something not perfectly. Sometimes it feels like the topic of the video and my arguments don't even matter anymore. What matters is, oh, you said this word wrong. And I always think to myself, guys, make your own vlogs, grab a phone, get a camera, get a microphone, and then let's see how perfectly you speak for 10 or 15 minutes to a camera. Then we can start judging pronunciation. You stupid Polish... I'm joking. I honestly don't have a single week without at least one comment telling me that I said something wrong in Polish. And it's not because I don't know the language. I am a native speaker. It's just that people are extremely focused on correcting others. And what's interesting in that, even on this channel where I speak English, I once got a comment pointing out that I said some English word wrong. I checked it, and guess what? It was a Polish person who wrote that comment, and honestly, I wasn't even surprised. I really feel that in our culture we focus a lot on mistakes, no matter what language someone is speaking. Polish, English, it doesn't really matter. Let me give you another example. I have a cousin who lives in Sweden, and she has a boyfriend who is not Polish, but he learned Polish. In my opinion, he actually speaks pretty well. You can communicate with him, he understands you, you can have a normal conversation. But when I was visiting family in Poland, my uncle said, "Oh, Karl doesn't speak Polish," and I was like, "What do you mean he doesn't speak Polish? We were talking in Polish." But what my uncle really meant was he doesn't speak like a native Polish person, and that's a completely unrealistic expectation for a foreigner. If you grow up in a country, of course you will speak the language perfectly, but if you learn it later in life, you will always have an accent, you will make mistakes, and that's normal. Da. Salut, 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 ce faci? Bine? La muncă, da. Am înțeles. O zi bună! And I think this kind of attitude makes people afraid to speak, because they feel that if they make one small mistake, they will be judged. And when people are afraid, they don't practice. And when they don't practice, they never really improve. Another really important thing, in my opinion, is media, especially movies and TV. Here in Romania, when you go to the cinema, movies are with Romanian subtitles. So if the movie is in English, people actually listen to English. They hear the real language, real accents, real pronunciation. In Poland, it's very different. I don't even know if this exists in many other countries, but in Poland we have something called a voiceover. So the movie is in English, but there's one guy, usually one male voice, speaking over all the characters in Polish. So people don't really listen to English at all. They just listen to Polish, and they don't need to read subtitles either, because everything is already translated for them. Honestly, I can't even watch movies like that anymore. For me, it feels crazy to watch a movie this way. I really prefer to hear the original voices and the original language. And because of that, I think Romanians get much more natural practice. They are constantly exposed to English, even when they are just relaxing and watching a movie. And that really makes a difference over many years. Another thing worth mentioning is language background. Romanian is a Latin-based language, so for many Romanians it's easier to learn languages like Italian, Spanish or French, because they are quite similar. But on the other hand, languages like German or Dutch are much harder for them. In the corporations I worked for here, there was always a big demand for people with German or Dutch, and it was very hard to find enough Romanian speakers of those languages. And that's actually similar to my situation with Romanian. For me, Romanian is not an easy language at all. I use it in daily conversations and I try to speak, but it's definitely not easy to learn. Eu știu limba română puțin, but the difference is I'm not afraid to speak. Sometimes people correct me, sometimes they laugh a bit when I say something funny, but not in a bad way. Not to make fun of me, just because it sounds funny. La plimbare puțin, da. Trebuie să plimbăm.
Pensia trebuie să fie,
Da.
nu trebuie să fie mare, trebuie să fie lungă.
Ah.
Și de-aia fac mișcarea.
Am înțeles, da.
Da, mișcarea face bine.
Face bine, da.
Păi dacă eu am lucrat în aviație,
Da. Me duc. O zi bună. And honestly, I feel like in Poland the reaction would often be different. People would laugh because you don't know the language, not because something just sounds cute or funny. Eu sunt puțin amuzant? And this is exactly why I think many Poles are afraid to speak foreign languages, because they are afraid of being judged, corrected all the time, or laughed at. And this is based on my own experiences. I really see this difference and I really feel it. Bine. And there is one more interesting and kind of funny thing I want to mention at the end. Here in Romania, some people sometimes use a funny expression, te-am murdărit la gură cu engleză, which literally means you got dirty around your mouth with English. It is said in a joking way, but it kind of suggests that someone is using too much English, like maybe you shouldn't speak English so much. And I actually experienced this once. I was in a village visiting a friend of my wife, and I was speaking English with Anna, with my wife. And her friend Catalina said to her, te-ai murdărit la gură cu engleză. And honestly, I didn't really understand it. I wasn't sure if she liked it, or if she didn't like it, or what exactly she meant by that. I still don't really get it. So I'm really curious, write me in the comments and explain this to me, because on one hand Romanians speak English very well and they like using English, but on the other hand sometimes you hear jokes like this. So how is it? Do you like speaking English or not? I honestly don't know, so please explain it to me. And what makes me even more funny is that about an hour later I saw Anna's friend posting photos on Facebook, posting beautifully in her garden, and the caption was, "It's a beautiful day," in English. So I really didn't know what to think anymore. For me, it was just a bit confusing. But anyway, that was just a small curiosity at the end of this vlog. And once again, this video is not against Poland and it's not about pricing Romania like crazy either. I'm just sharing my personal observations. In my opinion, people here are more relaxed about speaking English. They don't stress so much about mistakes or about being judged. And that's actually the most important thing when it comes to learning a language. Just like when I speak Romanian, nobody really judges me. People are happy that I use their language and I'm trying. And honestly, in Poland, this effort is often not appreciated in the same way. Of course, I'm not saying everyone is like this, but this is what I notice in many situations, and that's the difference I personally feel. That's it from me for today. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole topic. There will definitely be more vlogs on this channel about my observations from Romania, about comparisons between life here and life in Poland, because there are many differences and I really notice them. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, bye.